Hey, it's Joe, and welcome back to Humanfluence. This is Mysticism, Alchemy, and the Path of Transformation, a lecture inspired by the wisdom of Manly P. Hall. The hidden path of transformation awaits. Let's talk about something that has fascinated seekers, philosophers, and esoteric scholars for centuries. Mysticism, alchemy, and the hidden path of transformation. Now, when most people hear the word alchemy, we think of ancient men in dimly lit rooms trying to turn lead into gold. And while that's part of the story, it's not the real one. Because alchemy was never just about changing metals, it was about changing ourselves. Hall spent his life uncovering the hidden meanings behind alchemical symbols, mystical traditions, and secret teachings that have been passed down for thousands of years. He understood that the real gold of alchemy was wisdom, enlightenment, and the evolution of consciousness. Alchemy is not just a forgotten medieval science, it is an ancient roadmap for spiritual transformation. So let's break it down, step by step. What is alchemy really about? If you open an alchemy book, you'll find bizarre images. A king and queen merging into one body, a serpent devouring itself, the Ouroboros, a phoenix rising from the flames. To the untrained eye, these look like strange medieval drawings, but to the alchemist, they are coded instructions. Alchemy at its core is about three things: breaking down the false self, or calcination, destroying limiting beliefs, illusions, and ego, purifying and refining consciousness; distillation, separating truth from illusion, wisdom from ignorance. Rebirth is a transformed being. The Philosopher's Stone, achieving enlightenment and mastery of the self. The lead in alchemy represents the unrefined human being, full of flaws, ignorance, and the unconscious habits. The gold represents the awakened self, wise, balanced, and spiritually realized. And the process of turning lead into gold is simply a metaphor for this transformation. Every mystic, seeker, person on a spiritual path is an alchemist, whether you realize it or not. Here are the 7 stages of alchemical transformation. The path to enlightenment is a 7-step process. 1. Calcination, burning away the false self. The stage of ego death. It's when life forces you to confront uncomfortable truths. It often comes through loss, suffering, or deep self-reflection. Old belief systems start to break down. You start to question everything. Ever had a moment where your entire worldview was shattered? That's calcination. 2. Dissolution, letting go of control. This is the dark night of the soul. You realize that much of what you identified with, your job, status, relationships, doesn't define you. Your old identity dissolves and you start searching for something deeper. This is why people that go through trauma, heartbreak, or sudden loss often experience spiritual awakenings. Because when the false self collapses, the real self starts to emerge. 3. Separation. Here you begin sorting through your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. You separate what is truly you from what is conditioning. You ask, what do I truly believe? Instead of just repeating what society told you. The phase where people often leave religions, change careers, or completely shift their priorities, separating truth from illusion. 4 is conjunction. After tearing down old beliefs, you now start rebuilding yourself, this time consciously, integrating wisdom, balance, and self-awareness. The pieces of your life start coming together in a new, more authentic way. This is where you start noticing synchronicities, signs, and deeper meanings in your life. Things finally start making sense. 5 is fermentation. This is where transformation becomes real. You start feeling a deep inner peace, even in the face of chaos. Your old fears, anxieties, and negative patterns lose their power over you. People in this stage often describe feeling reborn. 6. Distillation. At this stage, wisdom is refined. You are no longer seeking truth, you embody it. You no longer react emotionally to life, you respond from a place of clarity. This is the level of sages, monks, and spiritual masters. And 7, coagulation, becoming the Philosopher's Stone. This is enlightenment, the realization that you are more than a physical being. You understand that you create your own reality. You no longer believe in higher truths, you experience them directly. This is what alchemists were striving for. Not to make gold, but to become gold. And whether we realize it or not, we are all on this journey, the hero's journey. And if you've stuck around this long, let's get real for a second. I know this all sounds very esoteric, but let's bring it back down to earth. Alchemy, in simple terms, is just personal growth. Have you ever had an experience that completely changed the way you see the world? Have you ever lost something, a job, relationship, belief system, and then realized years later that it was the best thing that ever happened to you? Have you ever gone through a painful experience that ultimately made you stronger, wiser, and more self-aware? That's alchemy. It's not about potions and magical symbols. It's about who you become through life's challenges. Solve coagula. Every time you face your fears, dissolution, discover your real purpose, separation, rebuild a better version of yourself, conjunction. You are practicing alchemy whether you know it or not. And that's why this knowledge is so important. Because once you understand the process, you stop resisting it. You start working with life instead of fighting against it. We've explored mysticism, alchemy, and transformation, not as ancient myths, but as real practical wisdom for everyday life. Hull often said the greatest alchemy is the refinement of the human soul. Because in the end, the true philosopher's stone is not something you hold in your hands. It is something you become. The real gold is not in the physical world. It is the wisdom, love, and truth that you carry within. And if you take anything with you, let it be this. You are already an alchemist. The only question is, what will you transform into? Humanfluence, out.